There's a technique so powerful that, when applied correctly, will make him crave your attention. And no, I'm not talking about emotional games or manipulation. I'm talking about something far deeper. Something that Louise Hay, a pioneer in emotional healing, discovered after decades of studying the energy between men and women. Have you ever wondered why some women, who aren't necessarily the most beautiful or the smartest, seem to hold an irresistible fascination over men? Why do men call incessantly, text constantly, and do everything to win their attention? The secret isn't in what these women do, it's in what they are. And today, I'm going to reveal to you the mirror technique that completely transforms the energy you emit, a technique that will make him unable to get you out of his head. Olivia was 35 when she sought me out. Intelligent, successful, beautiful. But there was a pattern in her love life. Men were initially interested, but quickly lost enthusiasm. The messages dwindled. Dates became less frequent. "It's like I become invisible to them," she told me, tears welling up in her eyes. What Olivia didn't realize is that she was sending energetic signals completely different from what she intended. While her words said, "I'm confident and independent," her energy screamed, "I need your validation to feel complete." Louise Hay, who sold over 50 million copies of her book, You Can Heal Your Life, always said, "The mirror reflects the truth we refuse to see." And that's where the transformative power of the technique I'm about to teach you begins. Before we delve into the technique itself, it's important to understand why men lose interest, why they stop pursuing you, why they stop craving your attention. It all starts with the energy you emit. And this energy, whether you like it or not, is directly related to what you see when you look in the mirror, not just physically, but emotionally. Louise Hay wasn't just a self-help author. She was a woman who experienced profound emotional wounds. Sexually abused at age 5, she dropped out of school as a teenager and endured abusive relationships. "I knew what pain was," she said, "so I never spoke of change with artificial lightness. I lived the trauma. And perhaps you've lived through your own traumas. Maybe you grew up hearing you weren't pretty enough, or smart enough, or special enough. Perhaps you had an emotionally distant father who made you believe you needed to win male love. Or perhaps you saw your mother diminish herself to please your father, unconsciously teaching you that's how you keep a man. These experiences are etched not only in your conscious mind, but in every cell of your body. They shape your self-awareness, the way you see yourself when you look in the mirror. And here's the truth that will change everything. Men don't respond to your words, or even your actions. They respond to your energy. And your energy is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. When you look in the mirror and see someone who needs a man's validation to feel valuable, you emit an energy of neediness. And this energy, no matter how hard you try to disguise it, is palpable. Men feel it, even without knowing exactly what they're feeling. And instinctively, they pull away. On the other hand, when you look in the mirror and see someone complete, someone valuable regardless of any external validation, you emit a magnetic energy. An energy that attracts men not just to your body or your mind, but to your essence. Louise Hay said, "You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are." This is the first key to understanding the mirror technique. Ava, a 42-year-old client, was constantly frustrated because men seemed to lose interest in her. After the second or third date, she was beautiful, articulate, attentive. "What am I doing wrong?" she would ask me. The answer wasn't in what she was doing. It was in what she was being. On the second or third date, Ava began to project onto the man the responsibility for her happiness. Not in an obvious or conscious way. She would never say something like that out loud, but the energy was there, silently saying, "I need you to choose me to feel choosable." When we began working with Louise Hay's mirror technique, something extraordinary happened. Ava began to see herself differently. She began to recognize her inherent worth, independent of any male validation, and her energy completely changed. 3 months later, she met Ethan. The first time they went out, Ava was different. She wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't monitoring every word, every gesture, trying to be perfect. She was simply being herself, complete, valuable, enough. Ethan felt that energy, and he was magnetically drawn to her. After that first date, he didn't stop calling. He texted constantly. He wanted to see her again as soon as possible. What changed? Ava didn't become more beautiful in those 3 months. She didn't become smarter or more interesting. What changed was her energy. And that change began when she transformed the way she saw herself in the mirror. This brings me to the second key of the mirror technique. Your relationship with the mirror is a direct reflection of your relationship with yourself. Many women use the mirror as an instrument of torture. They look at it searching for flaws, confirming their worst suspicions about themselves, reinforcing limiting beliefs about their worth. When you look in the mirror, what do you see first? The dark circles that betray a sleepless night, the cellulite that seems to have increased, the wrinkles that insist on appearing. Or do you see the woman who has overcome challenges, who has a heart that loves deeply, who has dreams and aspirations, who has an inner strength she doesn't always recognize? Louise Hay discovered that our relationship with the mirror is one of the most powerful metaphors for our relationship with ourselves. And it was from this discovery that she developed the technique I'm about to share with you. But first, let's understand more deeply what really drives a man crazy for a woman. It's not physical beauty, although that might initially attract. It's not intelligence, although that might maintain interest for a while. It's not sexual techniques, nor emotional games, nor anything external. What truly drives a man crazy for a woman is the feeling of freedom she provides him. Freedom to be himself without judgment. Freedom to show himself vulnerable without being diminished. Freedom to give without feeling like it will never be enough. And this freedom can only be offered by a woman who doesn't depend on him for her own emotional freedom. A woman who doesn't place the responsibility for her happiness, her worth, her emotional security on him. In other words, a woman who looks in the mirror and genuinely likes what she sees. Louise Hay recounts in her book how she herself used the mirror to transform her life. In 1977, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer, a part of the body that, according to her own philosophy, is linked to old grievances, especially those related to femininity and sexuality. Instead of immediately undergoing surgery, she began a deep process of forgiveness and transformation. And a central part of this process was working with the mirror. Every morning and every night, Louise would stand in front of the mirror, look deeply into her own eyes and say, "Louise, I love you. I really love you." At first, she says it was almost impossible to say these words without crying. Years of self-criticism and low self-esteem had created a barrier between her and self-love. But she persisted, day after day, night after night. And not only did her cancer completely disappear without traditional medical intervention, something documented in her medical records, but her entire life transformed, including how men responded to her. Because when you truly love yourself, you become magnetic. Not in a superficial or manipulative way, but in a deep and authentic way. This is the third key to the mirror technique. Self-love is not selfishness. It's the necessary foundation for any healthy relationship. Many women were raised believing that putting themselves first is selfish, that taking care of themselves before taking care of others is wrong, that their needs should always come last. Louise Hay radically challenged this belief. "You can't give what you don't have," she would say. "If you don't love yourself, how can you truly love another person? If you don't value yourself, how can you truly value another person?" When you begin to prioritize your emotional well-being, your mental health, your needs, something interesting happens. Instead of pushing others away, as you might fear, you actually attract them, because you're operating from abundance, not scarcity. This is particularly true when it comes to men. A man instinctively senses when a woman is coming from a place of fullness versus a place of emptiness, and he responds accordingly. Olivia, another client, was in a relationship with a man who treated her as an option, not a priority. He would call when it was convenient for him, schedule dates at the last minute, rarely make plans in advance. And Olivia, afraid of losing him, accepted all of this. When we began working with Louise Hay's mirror technique, Olivia had a revelation. She was treating herself the same way he was treating her. She was putting her own needs last, making herself available at any cost, accepting less than she deserved. As her relationship with the mirror, and consequently with herself, began to change, something extraordinary happened. She began to set healthy boundaries in the relationship, not aggressively or with ultimatums, but simply by honoring her own needs. "I already have plans this weekend," she said when he called on Friday night wanting to see her on Saturday. It wasn't a lie or a manipulation to make him value her more. She had genuinely made plans with herself to take care of herself. His reaction was revealing. Instead of pulling away as she feared, he began to pursue her with more intensity. He started making plans in advance. He began to treat her as someone valuable, whose time and attention were precious. Why? Because the energy she was emitting had completely changed. She was no longer energetically saying, "I need you to feel complete." She was saying, "I am complete, and I choose to share my completeness with you." That's the energy that drives men crazy. That's the energy that makes them beg for your attention. And it all starts with what you see when you look in the mirror. Now, let's move on to the fourth key of the mirror technique. The way you speak to yourself determines how others will speak to you. Louise Hay deeply believed in the power of affirmations. Positive statements repeated regularly to replace negative thought patterns. But she always emphasized that the most powerful affirmations are those made while you look directly into your own eyes, in the mirror. Why? Because it's much harder to lie to yourself when you're looking into your own eyes. The mirror reflects not only your physical image, but also your emotional truth. When you tell yourself, "I am beautiful," while avoiding looking at certain parts of your body that don't meet the beauty standard you've internalized, you're sending contradictory messages to your brain. When you tell yourself, "I deserve love," while your eyes are full of doubt, your subconscious registers the doubt, not the affirmation. Louise Hay's mirror technique breaks through this barrier of self-deception. It puts you face to face with your truth and gives you the opportunity to transform it. Chloe, a 28-year-old model, seemed to have it all. Beauty, a successful career, the admiration of other women. But in her love life, she consistently attracted emotionally unavailable men, married men, men who didn't want commitment, men who disappeared when the relationship started getting serious. When we began working together, we discovered something surprising. Despite her outward beauty, Chloe had a deeply negative relationship with the mirror. As a model, she was constantly exposed to criticism about her body, her face, every little flaw. And she had internalized these criticisms. Every time she looked in the mirror, the first thing she saw were imperfections. And the way she spoke to herself was brutal. Why this pimple now? I look tired. I'm getting old. I need to lose weight. So we began working with the mirror technique. At first, it was extremely uncomfortable for her. Looking herself in the eyes and saying words of love and acceptance felt false, forced. But she persisted. Day after day, she practiced looking beyond the surface, beyond the image the world saw, and connecting with her essence. Day after day, she replaced the critical voice in her mind with a voice of compassion and love. Gradually, something began to change, not only in how she saw herself, but in how men saw her. Suddenly, she started attracting a completely different kind of man, men who were emotionally available, men who wanted to truly know her, not just possess her beauty. One of them, Rodrigo, said something revealing after a few weeks of dating. "You're the first beautiful woman I've met who seems unaware of her power, and that makes you even more powerful." What he was perceiving, even without being able to articulate it clearly, was the shift in her energy. She was no longer operating from a place of need, the need for external validation that so many beautiful women paradoxically feel. She was operating from a place of fullness, the fullness of someone who truly recognizes and loves herself. And this brings us to the fifth key of the mirror technique. When you change how you see yourself, you change the energy you emit, and consequently, you change how the world responds to you. This isn't some abstract theory. It's a fundamental energetic principle that Louise Hay observed over decades of working with thousands of women. Think about it. Everyone you know is constantly reading your energetic cues, even without consciously realizing it. It's what we call nonverbal communication, but it goes far beyond facial expressions and body language. It's a constant transmission of your inner state. When you secretly believe you're not worthy of healthy, reciprocal love, you emit that belief energetically. And men, especially those operating from their own insecurities, pick up on this immediately. That's why so many incredible women who have it all, continue to attract men who treat them as less than they deserve. It's not because these men can't see their value. It's because they themselves aren't fully convinced of that value. The mirror technique I'm going to share with you goes directly to the root of this issue. It's not a band-aid or a temporary solution. It's a profound transformation in how you see yourself, and consequently, how men respond to you. Before revealing exactly how to practice this technique, I want you to understand what's happening on an energetic level when a man becomes completely fascinated by a woman. Louise Hay studied not only the psychology of relationships, but also what she called the metaphysics of relationships, the energetic interaction that happens beyond words and actions. She discovered that men aren't primarily attracted by physical beauty, intelligence, or even compatibility. They are attracted to a specific energetic frequency, a frequency emitted by women who are at peace with themselves. This inner peace creates what Louise called a magnetic field of the feminine, an energetic space that allows a man to feel simultaneously attracted and relaxed. Attracted because there's something mysterious and profound to be discovered. Relaxed because there are no suffocating demands or expectations. Think of the women throughout history who have exerted an irresistible fascination on men, from Cleopatra to Marilyn Monroe, from Audrey Hepburn to contemporary figures like Angelina Jolie. What these women have in common is not a specific type of beauty or personality. In fact, they are extremely different in those aspects. What they share is a quality of presence, an inner certainty, a defined relationship with themselves that isn't for sale or open to negotiation. And here's the secret that few people understand. This quality isn't something you're born with. It's something you cultivate. And the mirror is the most powerful tool for this cultivation. Now, let's get to the technique itself. Louise Hay's mirror technique is composed of 3 fundamental elements: presence, words, and persistence. When practiced together, these elements create such a profound transformation in your energy that men will literally feel a change in how they are drawn to you. The first element is presence. Many women use the mirror on autopilot. They quickly check their appearance, apply makeup, comb their hair, all while their mind is elsewhere, often in self-critical thoughts. Louise Hay's technique requires a different kind of engagement with the mirror. It starts with you positioning yourself in front of the mirror, preferably full length. But if that's not possible, at least where you can clearly see your face, take 3 deep breaths. With each exhale, release the tension from your body. Let your shoulders relax. Unfurl your brow. Unclench your jaw. Now, look directly into your eyes. Don't look away, even if it's uncomfortable. Stay like this for at least 30 seconds, simply observing the person in the mirror without judgment. This first step seems simple, but it's profoundly powerful. You're establishing a connection with yourself that goes beyond the surface. You're acknowledging your own presence, your own essence. Many women find this step surprisingly challenging. Tears may come, discomfort, an almost uncontrollable urge to look away. If this happens to you, know that it's normal. It's the first sign that you're starting to break down the barriers you've built against self-love. Julia, a 39-year-old executive, began crying uncontrollably the first time she tried this exercise. I realized I'd never really looked at myself before. She told me afterward, I'd pass by the mirror, check my appearance, but I never really met my own gaze. It was as if I was avoiding myself. This self-avoidance was manifesting in her love life. She attracted men who also avoided her emotionally. Men who were physically present, but emotionally absent. Men who looked through her, not at her. Men who admired her appearance, but never truly connected with her essence. As Julia continued practicing the presence element of the mirror technique, something remarkable began to happen. She began to feel more comfortable in her own skin. She began to notice small details about herself she'd never observed before. Not just physical, but emotional. The way her eyes lit up when she was truly happy. The depth that appeared when she was connected with her true feelings. This self-connection began to manifest in her energy. And men responded, not just with physical attraction, but with a genuine curiosity about who she was. They wanted to really know her, really be with her, really connect. One man in particular, Marco, whom she met 3 months after starting the practice, said something revealing on their third date. When you speak, I feel like I'm really hearing you, not just the words. There's something about you that makes me want to pay attention. That's the power of presence, the first element of the mirror technique. The second element is words. Louise Hay was a staunch advocate for the power of positive affirmations, but she emphasized that affirmations only work when they connect with your emotional truth. That's why affirmations spoken in front of a mirror, while maintaining eye contact with yourself, have exponentially more power than those merely thought, or spoken without that visual connection. After establishing presence with your reflection, you'll introduce specific words, carefully chosen affirmations that challenge and transform your deepest limiting beliefs. Louise Hay recommended, starting with the foundational affirmation, I love and accept myself exactly as I am. It seems simple, even banal, but when you say these words looking directly into your eyes, something extraordinary happens. You instantly feel the truth or the lie in them. You feel the resistance or the acceptance in your body. If you feel resistance, and most women will in the beginning, don't give up. Keep repeating. Say it aloud, clearly, at least 10 times. Notice how you feel saying these words. Notice where your body tenses or relaxes. After the foundational affirmation, Louise recommended moving on to more specific affirmations, targeted at your particular areas of insecurity. If you're having trouble attracting emotionally available men, the affirmation would be, I am worthy of reciprocal and fulfilling love. If you feel ignored or undervalued in relationships, I deserve attention, respect, and admiration. If you fear being abandoned, I am secure in my own love. I am complete within myself. If you feel insecure about your appearance, I am beautiful and radiant, exactly as I am. If you blame yourself for failed relationships, I completely forgive myself and open myself to new possibilities of love. Olivia, a 32-year-old teacher, struggled to attract men who truly valued her. She was always the best friend, the advisor, but rarely the woman they chose for a romantic relationship. When she started practicing the mirror technique, she chose the affirmation, I am a desirable and magnetically attractive woman. At first, she could barely say these words without laughing. It seemed so far removed from how she saw herself. But she persisted, day after day, looking into her own eyes, repeating those words. Gradually, something changed. Not her outward appearance. She didn't change her hairstyle, didn't start wearing different clothes, didn't alter her makeup. What changed was the energy she emitted, the way she moved through the world, the way she interacted with the men around her. 3 months later, she was in a relationship with a man who treated her not just as a friend or advisor, but as a woman he deeply desired and admired. This is the power of words, the second element of the mirror technique. The third and final element is persistence. Energetic transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's like replanting a garden that's been cultivated haphazardly for years. It takes time, consistency, and patience. Louise Hay recommended practicing the mirror technique twice a day, upon waking and before sleeping, for at least 30 consecutive days. These are powerful moments because your subconscious is more receptive to new programming. Consistency is absolutely crucial. It's far better to spend 5 minutes a day, every day, than an hour once a week. It's the constant repetition that reconfigures your neural pathways and consequently, your energy. Denise, a 45-year-old nurse, was skeptical of the technique. She practiced it a half-dozen times and didn't see immediate results, so she stopped. "It doesn't work for me," she told me, frustrated. I encouraged her to give the technique a real chance. 30 consecutive days, without skipping a single day. Reluctantly, she agreed. Around the 10th day, she started noticing small changes. Not in the men around her, but in herself. She started taking more care with her appearance. Not to impress others, but because she truly valued herself. She began expressing her opinions more clearly at work. She started saying no to things she would have previously accepted for fear of displeasing others. Around the 20th day, the men around her began reacting differently. A male co-worker who had always treated her as one of the team suddenly asked her out. A man at the supermarket initiated a conversation. Her neighbor, who barely acknowledged her before, stopped to chat when he encountered her in the hallway. And on the 28th day, something extraordinary happened. A man she had briefly dated 6 months prior, and who disappeared without explanation, got in touch. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said. "I made a mistake." Denise wasn't interested in him anymore. Her own transformation had led her to value herself much more. But that message was a powerful confirmation that something fundamental had shifted in her energy. This is the power of persistence, the third element of the mirror technique. Now, let's combine these 3 elements into a daily protocol. You can start immediately. In the morning, after getting up, 1. Position yourself in front of a mirror, preferably a full-length mirror. Take 3 deep breaths, releasing all tension from your body. 3. Establish presence by looking directly into your eyes for 30 seconds without judgment. 4. Say the foundational affirmation aloud, maintaining eye contact. "I love and accept myself exactly as I am." Repeat 10 times. 5. Add 2 or 3 specific affirmations for your areas of insecurity, repeating each one 5 times. 6. Finish by placing your hand over your heart and saying, "I am a magnetically irresistible woman, and men feel my natural power." At night, before going to sleep. Repeat the same process, but add an element of gratitude, too. After the affirmations, thank yourself for something specific you did well that day, no matter how small. Finish by visualizing yourself surrounded by a brilliant golden energy field that naturally attracts men who are aligned with your highest good. It's important that you practice this protocol exactly as described every day for at least 30 consecutive days. Don't skip a day. Don't shorten the process. Consistency is essential for the energetic recalibration that will make you irresistible in his eyes. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is happening during these 30 days? Why does this seemingly simple technique have such a profound impact on how men respond to you? Louise Hay, who was not only an intuitive healer but also a dedicated student of psychology and metaphysics, explained that the mirror technique works on multiple levels simultaneously. On a psychological level, you're reprogramming your inner dialogue. Studies show that most women have an extremely harsh inner critic, far more so than men. This inner critic constantly reinforces limiting beliefs about your worth, your attractiveness, your right to love. The mirror technique interrupts this cycle of self-criticism and creates new neural pathways based on self-compassion and self-acceptance. On a physical level, when you practice the technique regularly, your posture changes, your face relaxes, Your movements become more graceful and confident. Scientific studies confirm that these nonverbal cues have a huge impact on how others perceive your attractiveness, on an energetic or vibrational level, which was of particular interest to Louise Hay. You're literally altering the frequency your body emits. You shift from a vibration of lack and insecurity to a vibration of abundance and self-assurance. And on a spiritual level, you're aligning with your true essence, the woman you were always destined to be, before the world told you that you needed to be less, be different, be someone other than who you truly are. This multi-level transformation explains why the results of the mirror technique go far beyond simply attracting more men. Women who practice this technique consistently report improvements in all areas of their lives: career, health, friendships, finances. Because when you fundamentally change how you see yourself, you fundamentally change how the entire world sees and responds to you. Olivia, a 36-year-old designer, started the technique focused exclusively on improving her love life. She had been single for 4 years and had practically given up on finding a partner. After 30 days of consistent practice of the mirror technique, she not only started attracting male interest like never before, but she was also promoted at work, reconciled with a longtime friend after years of estrangement, and found the courage to start the side project she had dreamed of for years. It's like I removed a force field that was keeping me small in all areas of my life, she told me. This is the true power of the technique I'm sharing with you today. It's not just about making men beg for your attention, although that will certainly happen. It's about restoring your connection with your own light, your own power, your own magnetic essence. Louise Hay, who transformed her own life using these same techniques, like to say, the point of power is always in the present moment. This means that it doesn't matter how long you've been stuck in patterns of unsatisfying relationships. It doesn't matter how many men have ignored or devalued you in the past. The power to change everything is available to you now, in this moment. And it all starts with what you see when you look in the mirror. In the next few minutes, I'll share how to intensify this technique even further for even deeper and more lasting results. I'll show you how to combine the mirror technique with other elements of Louise Hay's philosophy to create such a complete transformation that men will not only beg for your attention, they'll see you as the woman they've waited their whole lives to find. I'll also share the 3 biggest mistakes women make when practicing this technique. Mistakes that can completely neutralize its effects and keep you stuck in the same old patterns. But first, I want you to understand something fundamental about men and their psychology when it comes to attraction and commitment. Contrary to what many women believe, men are not primarily attracted to physical beauty. They are not primarily attracted to intelligence. They are not even primarily attracted to compatibility. What attracts a man on a visceral, almost magnetic level is the feeling of being in the presence of a woman who is completely at home within herself. When a man encounters such a woman who isn't constantly seeking external validation, a woman who isn't trying to be someone other than who she truly is, he experiences a sense of mystery and reverence. Why? Because such a woman is rare in our world. In a culture saturated with images of women who are valued primarily for their external appearance, a woman who values herself from the inside out stands out like a beacon. And this type of woman is intoxicating to a man, not because he can possess her. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's because she cannot be possessed. She's not for sale. She's not available for negotiations about her worth. This quality, this wholeness, this complete presence, is what Louise Hay called authentic feminine magnetism. And it's precisely what the mirror technique is designed to awaken in you. I imagine you're eager to start applying this technique and see the results for yourself. In the next few minutes, I'll detail exactly how to intensify the technique further to maximize its effects. But before we proceed, I'd like to address a question that many women have when they learn about the mirror technique. Isn't it manipulative to use a specific technique to make a man beg for my attention? This is a valid and important concern. No one wants to feel like they're manipulating another person, especially someone they have genuine feelings for. The answer is simple, yet profound. The mirror technique is not about manipulating others. It's about releasing the manipulation you've been doing to yourself. Think about it. For years, maybe decades, you've been manipulating yourself to be less than you are, to dim your shine, to question your worth, to accept less than you deserve. The mirror technique simply reverses this self-imposed manipulation. It restores your connection with your true essence, the confident, whole, and magnetically attractive woman you always were, before the world told you otherwise. And when you operate from that authenticity, men respond not because you're manipulating them, but because they are responding to your truth, to your light, to your essence. That's not manipulation. It's liberation. Louise Hay, who worked with thousands of women throughout her career, always emphasized this point. You're not trying to change others. She would say, you're allowing yourself to be who you truly are. And when you do this, the universe conspires in your favor. This is the beauty and power of the mirror technique. It's not about tricks or strategies to get a man. It's about removing the barriers that prevent true love from finding you. And now, let's explore how to intensify this technique even further, for even deeper and more lasting results. Intensifying. The mirror technique involves adding 3 elements that Louise Hay discovered to be profoundly transformative: conscious touch, inner vision, and energetic field reprogramming. Let's start with conscious touch. Louise Hay discovered that, combined with the mirror work, conscious physical touch dramatically amplifies the reprogramming of the subconscious. Here's how to incorporate this element into your daily practice. While standing before the mirror, after establishing presence, and before beginning the verbal affirmations, gently place your hand over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own hand. Feel your heartbeat. Now, with your hand still on your heart, look into your eyes in the mirror and say, I honor the heart within me. I honor the woman I am. This simple act creates a powerful connection between your conscious mind and your physical body. It anchors the affirmations that will follow into a tangible sensory experience. As you move on to your specific affirmations, keep your hand on your heart. Feel the words reverberating through your body, not just echoing in your mind. Olivia, a 41-year-old physician, was skeptical about this aspect of the technique. As a scientist, she found it difficult to accept what she considered the esoteric elements of the practice. I can understand the psychological part of the affirmations, she told me, but I don't see how placing my hand on my heart makes any difference. I challenged her to try it anyway, to do the affirmations for 1 week without the touch, and the following week with the touch, to compare her experience. Her response after 2 weeks was revealing. It's hard to explain rationally, she told me. But when I put my hand on my heart while doing the affirmations, it feels like they go in deeper, as if my body was really listening, not just my mind. 3 months after incorporating this element into her practice, Olivia's life had completely transformed. The man she had subtly pursued for months suddenly began to actively seek her out. "It's almost scary," she told me. "It's as if he could feel the change in me, even before I could explain it." The second intensifying element is inner vision. While the basic practice of the mirror technique focuses on what you physically see in the reflection, this advanced element involves seeing beyond the physical to the energetic essence of the woman in the mirror. Here's how to incorporate this element. After your verbal affirmations, maintain eye contact with yourself, but allow your vision to soften slightly. It's not about going out of focus, but about seeing in a more encompassing, less analytical way. Now, visualize a gentle golden glow emanating from the center of your chest, enveloping your entire body. See this glow expanding beyond the limits of your physical body, creating a field of radiant light around you. While maintaining this visualization, say aloud, "This is my true essence. This is the woman men see when I am aligned with my truth." This visualization is not just an exercise of imagination. It's a tangible way to reconnect with your true, energetic essence, the one that naturally attracts and fascinates. This golden glow you visualize is what ancient tantric texts called Shakti, the feminine creative power that is naturally magnetic and transformative. It's what Louise Hay called your field of love, the energy that precedes your words and actions, and that men instinctively feel. When you regularly practice both conscious touch and inner vision, you begin to radiate a presence that transcends the physical and mental aspects. You begin to exist in the world as a complete woman, body, mind, heart, and spirit aligned in a single powerful frequency. And it is this frequency that causes a man to not only feel attracted to you, but literally unable to get you out of his mind. It's what makes him wake up thinking about you. It's what makes him look for ways to be in your presence. It's what makes him crave your attention, not because you're playing games or creating artificial scarcity, but because your presence becomes like an oasis in a world full of fragmentation and superficiality. The third and most powerful intensifying element is energetic field reprogramming. Louise Hay believed that each of us exists not only as a physical body or a thinking mind, but as a complex energy field that constantly interacts with the fields of other people. When you have negative patterns in relationships, when you repeatedly attract men who don't value you, when you constantly find yourself fighting for male attention, this indicates an imbalance in your energetic field. Energetic field reprogramming through the mirror technique is like restoring the natural harmony of that field. Here's how. Once a week, preferably on a Sunday night when the energy of the week ahead is forming, set aside 20 minutes for this in-depth practice. Prepare the environment, light a candle, dim the lights, perhaps put on some soft, inspiring music, position yourself in front of the mirror, and breathe deeply for 2 minutes, releasing any tension or worry. Look deeply into your eyes and say, "I dissolve all energetic patterns that no longer serve me. I release all frequencies of neediness, doubt, and fear." Visualize these old energies leaving your body like gray smoke, dissolving into the air around you. Now, place both hands over your heart and say, I redefine my energetic field with frequencies of self-love, confidence, and abundance. I am a magnetic magnet for men who value, admire, and deeply desire the woman I am. Visualize your energetic field regenerating, golden waves of light pulsating from your heart and expanding to fill your body, then the space around you, until it envelops the entire room. Finish by saying 3 times, looking deeply into your eyes, "My new frequency is set. My new reality is manifested. I am irresistible in my authenticity." Ava, a 47-year-old businesswoman, had been divorced for 8 years and had given up completely on romantic relationships. Men my age only want younger women. She told me in our first session, and when men show interest, it's always superficial, never truly seeing me. When Olivia started the mirror technique, she was skeptical, especially about the energetic field reprogramming part. "It seems too esoteric for me," she admitted, but she committed to trying. 30 days of daily practice, including the in-depth Sunday night ritual. In the first 2 weeks, she didn't notice any outward changes, but internally, something was starting to shift. I found myself looking at my reflection in shop windows, and actually liking what I saw, she told me. Not just my appearance, but something more, a quality of presence I'd never noticed before. In the 3rd week, something unusual happened. 2 different men, one at her gym and another at a professional networking event, initiated conversations with her. Not just casual chats, but interactions that had a clear element of attraction. And in the 4th week, something she considered almost miraculous occurred. A man she knew superficially from work, someone she always admired but considered out of her league, invited her to dinner. The most surprising thing, she told me, was how he looked at me. Like he was really seeing me for the first time. 6 months later, they were in a serious relationship. "He constantly tells me there's something about me he can't explain," she shared. "A quality that makes him want to be near me all the time." This is the transformation the mirror technique can create in your life, not just attracting more male attention, but attracting the kind of attention that sees and honors your true essence. Now, let me alert you to the 3 most common mistakes women make when practicing this technique. The first mistake is inconsistency. The technique doesn't work if practiced sporadically, or only when you remember. The power lies in daily repetition, which literally reconfigures your neural pathways and your energetic field. Commit to the full 30 days. No exceptions. The poor second mistake is practicing mechanically, without emotional presence. Just repeating the words without truly engaging in the energetic process is like trying to drive a car without turning on the engine. The words are just the vehicle. The emotion is the fuel. Feel each affirmation. Allow yourself to believe, even momentarily, that it's already true. The 3rd mistake is giving up too soon. Many women practice for a week or 2, don't see immediate results in the outside world, and conclude that it's not working. Remember, the transformation begins internally. The external signs, the change in how men respond to you, usually appear between the 21st and 30th day. Be patient and persist. As Louise Hay used to say, the people who have the greatest success with affirmations are those who are willing to do the necessary inner work, even when they don't see immediate results. And now, I want to leave you with a final thought. Something Louise Hay shared with thousands of women in her workshops around the world. The mirror reflects back to you the truth you are ready to see. And when you are ready to see the truth of your own magnificence, the entire world begins to reflect it back to you as well. Imagine what it will be like when you complete the 30 days of this practice. Imagine what it will be like to look in the mirror and genuinely love the woman you see. Imagine what it will be like to walk through the world, emitting an energy that naturally attracts men aligned with your greatest self. Imagine what it will be like to not have to chase, not have to manipulate, not have to diminish who you are to receive male attention. Imagine what it will be like to have men who really beg for a moment of your time, for a piece of your attention. This is not a distant dream or an impossible fantasy. This is the natural reality that arises when you restore your connection with your true feminine essence through Louise Hay's mirror technique. And the most wonderful thing is that you can start right now. You don't need special equipment. You don't need advanced training. You don't need to change anything about your outward appearance. You only need a mirror, your commitment, and the willingness to see the truth of your own worth. As Louise Hay taught us, you are already everything you desire to be. You just forgot. The mirror technique simply helps you remember. And when you remember who you really are, when you reconnect with the magnetically irresistible woman who has always existed within you, men don't just notice. They are fascinated. They are intrigued. They want more. They beg for your attention. Not because you're playing games, not because you're manipulating, but because you are finally allowing your true light to shine, without filters, without apologies, without diminishment. And there is nothing more irresistible than a woman who fully inhabits her own light. Start today, this moment. Go to the nearest mirror and take the first step. Look into your eyes and say, I am ready to see myself as I truly am. This is the beginning of your transformation. This is the beginning of your new reality. A reality where you not only receive male attention, but attract the kind of man who values, admires, and yes, begs for the gift of your presence in his life. Louise Hay brought this technique to the world because she deeply believed that every woman deserves to experience this quality of love and admiration, and you are no exception. Your new beginning is waiting for you in the mirror, now. If this content spoke directly to your heart, know that it was no accident. There's a reason you're hearing these words today. There's a reason the mirror technique found its way to you at this moment in your life. Louise Hay believed there are no coincidences, only divine synchronicities. And perhaps this is one of them. Subscribe to this channel to continue your transformation journey, because this is only the first of many powerful techniques that Louise Hay left as a legacy for women like you. Women ready to claim their power, their light, and their magnetic ability to attract exactly the kind of love they deserve.